as Jansen and Biggio are in the lineup. Kirk and Merrifield are out. George Springer, as Jamie Campbell told you a few minutes ago, 5 hits and 4 runs scored on opening day, the first time that has ever been done in American League history. George had the short game working well for him on Thursday. He found some green, as they say. And John Schneider said, yeah, there was some soft contact, but there was some hard contact too. They put the ball in play. They ran the bases very well. The outfield defense was terrific, which is a big point of emphasis for this team. It may not have been a masterpiece, but it was a win on opening day.
It was certainly a win, and the Cardinals had gone 170-0 when they scored 9 or more runs, and that was the first time they'd lost one of those games since 2013. There were 67 balls put into play in that game on Thursday, and the defense certainly had a big part of it. Base running was terrific, and today they'll see maybe one of the hottest prospects in baseball a couple of years ago, Jack Flaherty. But injuries have led to his undoing. The last couple of years he's dealt with an oblique injury, a shoulder injury last year, just 9 games a year ago. But he was a former #1 pick and one of the real bright stars of this organization. When you look at his career record, he's done some great things here in St. Louis, including racking up the strikeouts. He has got a consistent strikeout record when he is healthy. He has the 6th most strikeouts in a single season by a Cardinal pitcher, 231 strikeouts back in 2019. They're hopeful that he can recapture that form once again this season. Defensively for the Cardinals, they are a very good defensive ball club as well. A little change in left field. Alec Burleson takes over in left field for Lars Nootbaar, who has a little bit of a thumb issue. Tyler O'Neill had a great opening day, his 4th consecutive home run on opening day. Jordan Walker, the rookie. Arnado, Edmund, Donovan, and Goldschmidt around the diamond. Andrew Kisner is behind the plate, their regular catcher. Wilson Contreras took a ball off the right knee, and he is day to day. He's probably available to come off the bench and hit, but they might not hit him for the catcher.
George Springer to lead it off as always, of course, and boy, the top of the lineup, they really had the bats going on opening day on Thursday. We told you Springer went 5 for 6. Between them, the 4 of them, they went 12 for 21. Scored 7, drove in 7, and there were a lot of good at bats. But Vladimir Guerrero Jr.'s last 2 plate appearances, Buck, the 2-run single of Jordan Hicks in the 8th, and then maybe even more so, and I talked to Vladdy about it today, he intentionally cut down the swing, just trying to get the ball to the outfield of the 9th inning, knowing the go-ahead run was at 3rd. He was just thinking sac fly, give my team the lead.
Nobody hits velocity better than Vladdy Guerrero Jr.
Underway here on a chilly afternoon. Glad you're along with us. First pitch at 1:16 Central Time. And Springer puts the 2nd pitch in play to right center field. And Jordan Walker is there to make the catch. 1 down.
It is a cool afternoon here in St. Louis, and the wind is really howling. It's going to be an issue. If you look at the top of the stadium, the wind's blowing from 3rd base to right field. But if you look at the flags in right field, they're blowing in from right field. So I think the outfielders are going to have to really focus on anything in the air. And there you see what I'm talking about. I mean, the wind's going in all different directions.
Number 2 batter, Bo Bichette. Bichette 4 for 6 on opening day. 3 singles and a double. Scored a couple of runs. Bounces this one down to 3rd. Nolan Arenado, the 10-time Gold Glover, makes the play. 2 down. And that brings up Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And Buck, you were in the ballpark in Montreal when these two met once before.
Spring training in 2018, the last game. This is the bottom of the 9th inning in a scoreless game, and Vladimir Guerrero Jr. takes Jack Flaherty deep. And the interesting part was that there were so many rookies with the ball club. And look at the celebration at home. This is the end of spring training in Montreal. And that was a terrific at bat, just the precursor of what was to become for Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
So that's 5 years ago. So Guerrero was 19, and he would start that year. Well, he would spend a good chunk of that year at AA, finished off at AAA. This is before he was even a big leaguer. That might be the most exciting, famous home run in spring training history.
I can remember watching Bo Bichette specifically bounce out of the dugout when that ball hit the seats. And like I said, they had a whole bunch of minor leaguers playing at that time. And they really celebrated. You could tell at that time how everybody embraced Vladdy. All of his minor league teammates were there to celebrate at home plate. It was a terrific way to finish up spring training.
A ball and 2 strikes here. Guerrero went 2 for 4, drove in 3 on Thursday. And lays off a curveball in the dirt that evens it up at 2-2.
Everybody wants to get off to a good start. You really think about getting off to a good start. And I think that created a problem for Vladdy last year because he didn't get off to a good start, and I think he started chasing hits. It's very difficult to hit in the big leagues, but it's really almost impossible when you're going up there thinking about, I got to get a hit, I got to get a hit. When he chases good pitches, that's when he's at his best.
He's worked it back to a full count. And fouls back a fastball.
He was out in front of that fastball. And he ran off the end of his bat.
Dalton Varsho on deck if Guerrero is able to get aboard and keep it going here in the top of the first. And that is an excellent take of a pretty good slider there to draw the walk.
Well, we always talk about first innings and how challenging they can be for a starting pitcher as you're trying to get in hold of your emotions, trying to get comfortable on the game mound, and you've got the toughest hitters in the batting order to deal with right out of the chute.
So here's Varsho hitting in the cleanup spot again. He drove in a couple of runs on Thursday, one on a double, one on a sacrifice fly. The double came in his first at bat, and not only is an RBI double in your first at bat with your new team make you feel good, it was also the hardest hit ball of his career. Saw that from Sportsnet's Nick Ashbourne online during the game a couple of days ago. 112.5 miles an hour off the bat. And then the sac fly he hit off a lefty later in the game, the second hardest ball he's ever hit off a lefty. So some good contact on a couple of occasions, good productive contact for Varsho. As he takes high, and it's 2 balls and a strike.
Yeah, that double in the first inning came on the 9th pitch of the at bat. He had fouled off several tough pitches to keep the at bat alive and then ripped it down into the right field corner.
Guerrero the lead at first, being held on by Goldschmidt. Now 3-1. Got some wrappers blowing around in the field. You see one behind the plate right there. The bat boy for the Cardinals just came out and got one moments ago as well. It's that kind of a day. Arenado way off the line on the left side of the infield. And a throw over, just a soft toss over to first by Flaherty.
He'll run from time to time. I don't think this is the time he will run, but he had 8 stolen bases last year.
And that's ball 4. Back-to-back 2-out walks issued by Flaherty.
Mentioned Flaherty, #1 pick out of high school. Came to the big leagues in 2019. Had a huge year in 2019 when he had those 231 strikeouts, 196 in the 3rd inning. And now he's at a first inning jam.
The batter, Matt Chapman. So Chapman was in the 7 spot on Thursday when Alejandro Kirk was in the lineup. Kirk out, Jansen in. Chapman up to 5. Jansen hitting 7th this afternoon. As we start to get a feel for what John Schneider's lineups are going to be, at least early in the season. Always subject to change, of course. And another breaking ball in for a strike. That's a curve right at the belt and 0-2.
Yeah, Chappie thought it was high. See, he had a pretty good look at it. But now here's one of the things he really wants to focus on: hitting with 2 strikes. Cut down his swing, change his target a little bit.
Guerrero dancing around out at second as Flaherty misses outside. Scott Berry, the home plate umpire today. Gabe Morales at first, Adam Beck at second, and the crew chief Dan Iasonias at third. Down and away, 2-2. Chapman had 3 hits on Thursday, all of them singles. One up the middle, two to right. Drove in a run. 10 runs on 19 hits for the Blue Jays on Thursday. Did not hit a home run in the game. And fouled back.
And Matt Chapman, his first year last year with the Blue Jays, he really wanted to be part of the team very quickly. And I think early in the year he was pressing an awful lot, but he's much more comfortable right now. And boy, oh boy, does it feel good to get 3 hits in your first game to start the season.
Guerrero at second, Varsho at first. And outside a full count, meaning both runners will get a head start. Luis Rivera making sure they are aware. Flaherty's already walked 2 here in the inning. There go the runners, and there's another walk. He has loaded them up.
Interesting, he went to a breaking ball on a 3-2 pitch, and Guerrero did a terrific job to work the walk. Varsho followed suit, and now bases are loaded for Brandon Belt. Belt has the most at bats against Jack Flaherty, but he's just 1 for 8. Of course, they both spent their whole career in the National League.
Some concern, no doubt, for Oliver Marmol, and now a visit to the mound for the catcher Andrew Kisner, who again is playing today because Wilson Contreras suffered a bruised knee, taking a 103-mile-an-hour fastball from Jordan Hicks off that right knee back on Thursday. May be available off the bench today, we understand, but not in the starting lineup.
Well, the Blue Jays scored 3 runs on 5 hits in the first inning yesterday, and now they have loaded the bases after 2 were out. But this is what they have their mindset on. Never give in, never concede once you get 2 outs, and certainly don't concede when you get 2 strikes. They battle no matter where you are in the lineup.
First pitch to Belt is a called strike. The Cardinals playing Belt to pull on the infield about as much as you can, with the new rule taking the shift out of the game. Tommy Edman, the shortstop, as you can see, is near second base, but has to stay on the left side of it. As Flaherty busts Belt inside, 1-1.
Boy, it is so good for the hitters down in the order to see this many pitches this early from Flaherty. You get a real sense of what you might get in your at bat.
Pulled foul, and it is 1-2. Belt has always been a patient hitter. 1 year with the Giants back in 2016, walked over 100 times. But Flaherty's gotten that in front of him. Right now, 1-2. Bases loaded, 2 down. Takes it high, 2-2. Such a big X factor for this team. A healthy, at his best, Jack Flaherty is an all-star caliber pitcher, but he has not been healthy a lot of the time the last couple of years. Inside to Belt, and it is a full count.
Boy, these hitters have been terrific in their ability to recognize balls off the plate. Nobody's been over anxious. Nobody's been chasing hits. They want a good pitch to hit.
And everybody will be on the move right now. The 3-2, a swing and a miss, and Flaherty gets Belt. So 3 walks in the top of the first, but the Blue Jays leave them loaded. Goldschmidt and Nolan Arenado. Arenado, one of the best players in the game, both offensively and defensively, since he has entered the majors, and he is sitting right now on 299 career home runs.
Kevin Gausman goes to the mound to make his first start of the season. As we mentioned in the open, he did a terrific job in spring training last year, a 12-10 record, 31 starts. 205 strikeouts. That was 5th most in the American League, and he is anxious to replicate that season.
And he pumps in a fastball at the knees for a called strike.
That's really interesting. He starts out this game throwing a low fastball strike. That's an emphasis of what he's trying to accomplish this season. Put the fastball in their minds in a different location. In years past, it was almost exclusively upstairs with the fastball, downstairs with the splitter. He's trying to mix it up.
So some of the more disciplined hitters, if they saw anything down, they just didn't swing at it, knowing that the splitter was very likely to not be in the strike zone. But now if you throw them the odd fastball down for a called strike, now they've got to be in swing mode on the ball down, and they might chase that splitter even more. A ball and 2 strikes on Donovan. 281, a 390 on base last year as a rookie. As he hits a ground ball out to second, Kevin Biggio getting the start today at second base. 1 down.
And there's some weak contact with Kevin Gausman on the mound. The defense has to be aware. He doesn't walk many people, so he's going to put it in play. Outfield played outstanding defense in Thursday's game. The opener, Varsho, Kiermaier, and Springer all had impactful plays in the outfield. Chapman and Bichette on the left side. Biggio gets the start at second. Vladdy's at first, and Danny Jansen makes his first start of the season. He's behind the plate for Kevin Gausman.
And remains to be seen how much of a personal catcher situation the Blue Jays will have. You know that Alejandro Kirk catches Alek Manoah, and it feels like Danny Jansen is going to be with Chris Bassett and Yusei Kikuchi. Now the number 2 hitter, Alec Burleson, hits a fly ball to left field, but there to make the play is Dalton Varsho. 2 down.
Yeah, this is a tough day for hitters in my mind. You hit it in the air, it's going to be tough to hit it out of this ballpark. I don't care which direction you hit it in, and I'm sure Gausman is aware of that. He's always been great at throwing strikes. He had 41 strikeouts over his first 5 starts and didn't walk a batter. Incredible.
Yeah, one of the longest streaks in Major League history last year. 2 down for Paul Goldschmidt. The reigning National League MVP, 5-time Silver Slugger Award winner. Goldschmidt and Arenado received their 2022 Silver Slugger Awards prior to the game today. One and 1 the count. Goldschmidt has seen a little bit of Gausman, and he's actually 4 for 6, but 2 of those hits were ground balls to the right side last year. That's a bullet up the middle. A legit single there for Goldschmidt as he is aboard with a 2-out single. Plain and simple, one of the best duos that any team has at any position. These guys they've got on the corners.
That Silver Slugger Awards presented before the game, and they have done a terrific job, and they're both Gold Glove players as well, which is really interesting to have that type of ability defensively and offensively.
So a 2-out base runner. Here's Nolan Arenado, and he was out in front. 0-1.
Trying to ambush that first pitch, expecting he might get a fastball. Another terrific season for Arenado a year ago.
We'll talk about it more, but Arenado and Matt Chapman, high school teammates. Arenado 2 years older, so he was a junior when Chapman was a freshman. They were both shortstops. Chapman came into high school at 5'5", 125 pounds. Growth spurt later, late bloomer. So, you know, nobody, I wouldn't imagine back then, could have foreseen that the guy on the right at 5'5", 125 would grow into this, you know, one of the best third basemen of the game. Big, strong guy, a lot of power. And Chapman talks about, you know, learning from Arenado, the work habits, the dedication, the attention to detail, all that sort of thing back in high school.
They were in high school in El Toro, California, in southern Orange County. And when Arenado would pitch, Chapman would play short. And then Nolan told me yesterday, every once in a while when I got thrown out, he'd have to play short too.
But pretty much as a freshman, Chapman sat on the bench.
Yeah.
Arenado had the job. Swing and a miss, and Gausman strikes Arenado out. The stranded base runner scoreless at the end of 1. He was in there. He was about as productive as anybody. Had an .855 OPS, hit 15 home runs in limited at bats, and part of a terrific combination behind the plate for the Blue Jays.
Yeah, he and Alejandro Kirk were as good a combination behind the plate as there was in baseball last year. Danny also had 10 doubles to go along with those 15 home runs.
And pulls that one foul. 1-1.
Yeah, Danny changed his approach a little bit last year. He got back to pulling the ball. He said, I'm a pull hitter. I've always been a pull hitter, and he tried to hit for a higher average and lost some of his power and lost his average as well. So he went back to what he feels most comfortable doing, and that's pulling the ball.
The 2-1 from Flaherty, and that fastball rides in high, ball 3, and Jack Flaherty continues to struggle with his command. Alejandro Kirk on the bench today, of course available to pinch hit if needed. You would imagine that Jansen will catch Chris Bassett in his regular season Blue Jay debut tomorrow. That's the way that they were lined up in the spring, and now Flaherty not even close as Jansen walks to begin the second.
Yeah, Blue Jays now have to really keyhole against Jack Flaherty. He has shown them that he doesn't have very good command right now. Jansen almost got hit by that pitch. That's 4 walks now in 7 plate appearances. So they really have to be selective at the plate. Can't chase anything right now.
So now Cavan Biggio getting his first start of the season. Biggio came off the bench as a pinch hitter against Jordan Hicks on Thursday and worked him for a walk. Hicks got out in front of him 1-2, and then Biggio took a 104-mile-an-hour fastball that was about 2.5 inches inside to get it to 2-2. Eventually worked him for a walk.
That hit him.
Yep.
How about this?
Wow.
Flaherty is all over the place. And, you know, all you want is to get a good start under your belt to start the season. And Flaherty retired the first 2 relatively easily. Got Springer and Bo Bichette, and then he walked 3 in a row before striking out Belt to end the first. And now he's allowed the first 2 to reach here in the second.
So a lot of concern for Ollie Marmol. Number 9 hitter again today is Kevin Kiermaier. Had a very nice Blue Jay debut on Thursday. Went 2 for 5, a couple of base hits, hit both of them hard, both over 100 miles an hour. Had that great base running play that not only a lot of fans were talking about, a lot of his teammates were talking about it in the clubhouse after that game and before the game today. In the air to left center, not deep. And now really coming in is Tyler O'Neill to make the catch for the first out, and the runners retreat.
Yeah, that wind is really knocking everything down that's in the air. O'Neill broke back initially, but then, of course, he has terrific speed and was able to close ground on it. Made an easy play.
So back to the top of the order for George Springer, who hit a fly ball to right field his first time up. And looks at strike 1. One more game here tomorrow before the Blue Jays make the quick flight over to Kansas City. A 4-game series with the Royals starting Monday night. And then the road trip finishes up with 3 against the Angels out in Anaheim. Ground ball down to third. Arenado to second for 1, and the Cardinals will turn the double play. No runs, no hits, 1 man left. On to the bottom of the second, no score. May the 24th of last season, 6 scoreless innings, allowing just 4 hits. And as you can see, the vast majority of the pitches that he threw are either fastballs or that great splitter.
Well, the StatCast is powered by Google Cloud, and we're going to show you where those pitches were. 105 pitches, and he used them very effectively. Splitters were down and away from left-handed hitters. There were a few changeups, not many, but overall he was in the strike zone with all of his pitches and really put pressure on the Cardinal hitters. 6 innings, just 4 hits, and when he is on, man, he's tough. And we've seen some positive signs early in this game. He threw a couple of low fastball strikes, and that's really a step in the right direction.
Yeah, just give him something, a little something else to think about. Nolan Gorman will lead off the bottom of the second for the Cardinals, DHing again today. Hit 226, 14 home runs as a rookie a year ago. And Gausman gets a call on the outside corner, but it's 0-1. Looks like the wind has settled a little bit. It's probably going to, go back and forth most of the afternoon. And again, it seems to be changing directions as well as Gausman is in there again. 0-2.
Another good fastball, bottom of the zone. He's thrown 2 fastballs, one on the outside, one on the inside.
Up and away, ball 1.
His splitter is one of the best pitches in baseball, and especially to left-handers. The league overall hit 193 against that split finger pitch last year.
Missed down.
Only one pitcher threw more split finger pitches all season long last year than Gausman. That's Alex Cobb.
Only about 5 or 6 starting pitchers who throw it regularly around the majors. I think there are some people, maybe not as much anymore, who feel like it can be the kind of pitch where you're more susceptible to elbow injuries, that sort of thing. Gausman's never had an issue. And really, this pitch in large part is why he has elevated himself to one of the best starters in the game. Bounces one down to first. Easy play for Vladimir Guerrero Jr. And while we have a moment here early in this game, we want to extend our deepest condolences to Blue Jay pitching coach Pete Walker, who found out overnight that his father John had passed away at the age of 90. Buck and I had a chance to speak with Pete briefly today on the phone with family and arrangements being made, and Pete is going to leave the team after the game tomorrow and go home as the team goes on to Kansas City, and just want to extend our deepest condolences to Pete and the entire Walker family.
Yeah, no matter when it happens and how old your father was, it's always tough to lose your dad. And we've all been there.
Fouled back by Tyler O'Neill, and it's 0-2.
O'Neill homered on opening day, the 4th consecutive opening day he's hit a home run on, and that ties him with some pretty notable hitters, including Gary Carter, Yogi Berra, and Todd Hundley for the most on opening day, most consecutive games with a home run.
Nothing doing here against Gausman, though, as Gausman strikes him out on 3 pitches for out number 2.
He struck out on a high fastball, and he gets O'Neill on that splitter. You know, the thought is, well, the splitter's most effective against left-handed batters, but I don't buy that. When it's so good like Gausman's, you can throw it to anybody. Just throw it in the right location and sequence it properly. It's going to be an effective pitch.
And this will be interesting. This is a raw rookie here, 20-year-old Jordan Walker, all kinds of talent, but just his second game in the big leagues. Obviously has not seen many like Gausman. And if memory serves, last year when Gausman would face young batters, sometimes, I mean, they were guessing wrong. He had them thinking wrong all the time, and kind of had his way with younger batters.
Yeah, and that was a good splitter right there. And that's the thing to watch for, is if it's a strike to ball splitter, that's when it's most effective.
Ground ball sharply hit. Bichette deep in the hole, will not make a play here with the speed of Walker, who will reach.
Yeah, you just have to concede infield hits like that. Bo, if he comes up with it cleanly, maybe he's got a shot to throw out the runner, but Walker's got good speed. Watch as Bo picks it up and then realizes no chance, no reason to chance an error. You throw it past the first baseman and you allow the runner to get to second in scoring position, especially with 2 outs. Walker hit a fielder's choice. They tried to turn 2, but look at Vladdy saying, nope, we didn't have a shot. Hold the ball. Good play.
And it appears, yes, it has been scored, a base hit for Walker, so he's at first, 2 down. He can run as well. And 22 steals at Double-A a year ago. As Andrew Kisner, the catcher and number 8 hitter, bats now for the Cardinals.
Well, stolen bases are dramatically up already, and we've only had 2 days of play. But the National League, they're 11 for 15 in steals. American League is 20 for 21.
I think the combination of the disengagement rule and the larger bases, but Gausman doesn't have to worry about that as he finishes off Kisner with the Cards here in the second. to have had all that much of in recent years, but with the additions of Kevin Kiermaier, a full year of Whit Merrifield, the addition of Dalton Varsho, all three of those guys are plus base runners. Kiermaier, known as one of the best base runners in the game, and has been for many years. And he's just kind of doing the same kind of things that he's always done. But boy, is he getting a warm reception with his new teammates because of it.
Well, another thing that it does, it really puts pressure on the defense. And watch him get a good read right here. He sees it's going to drop. He keeps moving towards second and then really hustles over to third base to get in scoring position. But what it does now is the Cardinals are well, these guys are going to make first to third and first to home a regular practice. So that puts a lot of pressure on the defense. And if the outfielders are distracted, maybe they bobble a ball and you get an extra base.
3-1 the count on Bo Bichette, with Jack Flaherty already having walked 4 and hit 1, but the Blue Jays have not been able to come up with a hit or two to take advantage of it. Full count. Bichette, Guerrero, and Varsho here in the third. And another walk and a leadoff base runner for the Blue Jays here in the third. Well, here's a number. You can find it on Fangraphs. It's an overall team base running metric. It includes things like stolen bases, caught stealing, taking an extra base on a hit, getting thrown out trying to take an extra base, and then it turns into like a run value. And the Blue Jays, as you can see, one of the worst base running teams according to Fangraphs in baseball last year. And to a man in that clubhouse, and I spoke about it with the manager today, they think they're going to be one of the best base running teams in baseball this year. And we saw a lot of evidence of that on day one as they were routinely going first to third, second to home on base hits. Guerrero was the trail runner getting into second when, well, it must have been Bichot, Springer ahead of him going first to third. To a man, they feel they can put the pressure on other teams with their base running.
Base running is a team asset. It's not an individual thing. It's a team thing because benefits the hitter behind you. If you get in scoring position or get to third base with less than 2 outs, then the hitter has a different perspective at the plate. Believe me, it is so much easier driving in a run from third than it is a runner from second. And players know that, and now they're going to do it for one another. And it becomes kind of a team concept.
2 balls and a strike on Guerrero. Leadoff man aboard in Bichette. 3-1. Just high, says Scott Berry. And another favorable count for a Blue Jays batter.
Yeah, this might be the time for the first Blue Jays home run of the season. Vladdy's seeing everything right now.
And in there with a slider, 3-2.
Yeah, I threw him a 3-1 slider, not wanting to give in. But Vladdy's got a good read on Flaherty right now. All the Blue Jays do, for that matter.
Bichette the lead. He's running, and it's ball 4 to Guerrero. 6 walks issued by Jack Flaherty among the first 12 batters that he's faced.
Now, yesterday, the Blue Jays stranded 12 base runners despite the fact they scored 10 runs, but they were 5 for 12 with runners in scoring position. Somebody's got to come up with a big hit here.
Dalton Varsho's going to try. Varsho walked his first time up. And Flaherty not close. Ball 1.
He's not close, and they're going to have to get somebody going. I mean, he's tried with his fastball, he's missed with his breaking ball, and he can't find a pitch that he can throw a strike with.
Arenado way off the line. Edman, the shortstop, shading up the middle. And a strike over the outside corner, 1-1.
Of course, both of these teams had an off day yesterday, so their bullpens are recharged a bit.
Good take on a breaking ball down. 2-1 now on Varsho. And he lifts one to left center. O'Neill to his right and is there to make the catch. One down. So he's faced 13 batters. He's walked 6, hit 1, but retired the rest, and the Blue Jays unable to take advantage. Already a new career high in walks for Flaherty, and this game is in the 3rd inning. Here's Matt Chapman. He walked in the 1st. And a high fly ball to left field, but not deep. Burleson started back, now racing in, and makes the catch for out number 2.
Yeah, anything in the air is going to be knocked down in this ballpark this afternoon. So you'd like to hit line drives, hard ground balls, keep something out of the air, because it just balloons up and becomes a very easy play for the outfielders.
And the Blue Jays already 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Flaherty struck out Brandon Belt with the bases loaded to end the top of the 1st. Faces Belt again here with 2 on in the top of the 3rd. And gets out in front of him 0-1. A little bit in. Belt DHing for the 2nd consecutive game. Swing and a miss, 1-2.
Come back with a breaking ball there, and that seems to be the best selection for Flaherty. Off speed pitch, breaking ball, slider, curveball, something he can throw over. Fastball hasn't been very consistent.
And Belt will take that breaking ball down and in. 2-2. Flaherty trying to get a chase there. Belt, of course, a late start in the spring, coming off knee surgery last year. The Blue Jays kind of easing him into things in the middle of March. Full count. Feels like I keep saying that.
You said a lot today, Dan, that's for sure. We didn't expect this with Flaherty. He's not known as a guy that battles his command very often, but you've already mentioned it's a career high. He had 3 5-walk games in the past.
There go the runners, and Belt strikes out again as 2 more men are stranded here in the top of the 3rd.
Not anything new. It's just the fact they're going to enforce it. There's always been that rule in the book that you've got to come to a complete stop before you change directions and go to the plate. But Kevin Gausman was named in the articles describing the new rules, so they had their focus on him. He was in the crosshairs.
Tommy Edman leads it off, the shortstop and the number 9 hitter for the Cardinals. Gausman told me he really started working on the toe tap back at around 2018. The Braves had said to him, you know, you're better in the stretch than you are in the windup. Here's the evidence, the numbers, whatever. So, but he wanted something. He wasn't doing a windup anymore, but he said the toe tapping just kind of got him going, got his momentum started. And he worked on it all through 2019, and then COVID hit. No baseball in 2020. So he told me he bought a mound, put it in his garage, and he didn't even throw the ball. He just went through the delivery over and over and over again to try to refine it and get comfortable. Now, he was a Giant then, so he said, I pretended either Cody Bellinger, a left-handed batter, or Justin Turner, a right-handed batter, were at the plate, and I spent 4 months in my garage kind of perfecting that toe tap, and that's when it became such a complete part of my muscle memory. Then a couple of years later, now he's got to modify it again.
Yeah, and you know what? We think that these big league players that are really successful are just a product of stepping on the field and doing their work, but there's a lot of background work that goes into it and things like that. Another thing that he talked about was improving his command and control, and with that he studied archers and bowlers to see how they lined up things.
And there's a base hit through the right side for Brendan Donovan. A 1-out single, and a good example of a ball that, had it been hit last year, probably does not get through because the shift would have been on. But with the shift going away, the idea is that more balls in play will get through. Batting average will go up. Just a little more action out there.
It'll be interesting how they approached Donovan next time. They threw him a high fastball and he was all over it. So next time they'll probably focus more on down with the fastball and the splitter.
The batter now is Alec Burleson, who is in there because Lars Nootbaar, the regular left fielder who started on opening day, banged up his thumb on a headfirst slide, so he is out of the lineup. Burleson hit 188 and 48 at bats as a rookie last year with the Cardinals. Hit 331 at AAA. And takes it outside, ball 2. It always feels like the Cardinals have an outfielder ready to break through who hit like 330 at AAA last year. I mean, from a few years ago, O'Neill, and then Nootbaar, and then Carlson, who's now their 4th outfielder, and Jordan Walker, of course, who's the phenom right now. Burleson lifts one to right. Springer there, 2 down.
Yeah, you're right. They do such a great job of developing minor league players, especially outfielders. It's one thing the Blue Jays haven't done consistently over the last several years. They haven't been able to develop a real impact outfielder. I guess Vernon Wells would be the last guy that you can consider as a homegrown player that came through the system and turned into an all-star.
2 down. Paul Goldschmidt had a base hit up the middle his first time up. This guy's about as quiet a superstar as there is in the game.
Yeah, he doesn't say much, doesn't like much attention, but boy, oh boy, he's got the attention of opposing pitchers. There's no doubt about that. A terrific competitor. He and Arenado both played on Team USA for a 2nd straight tournament. WBC.
Little looper's going to drop in right center. And Donovan around to 3rd. Goldschmidt is 2 for 2.
You know how guys hit 300? They hit mistakes hard and they hit good pitches for base hits. And this is a pretty good pitch. He runs that ball inside and jams him at 95 miles an hour, but he's so strong he fights it off, hits it over Biggio into center field. Donovan motors around 2nd. He ends up at 3rd.
So now with a couple of men on, Gausman has to deal with Nolan Arenado. Arenado struck out in the 1st. He is 2 for 12 in his career against Gausman. And ground ball to 3rd. Chapman juggles, throw to 1st, and it skips by Guerrero and out of play. And Chapman is beside himself out there right now, hands on his knees. Cannot believe it as the Cardinals will take the lead.
Well, he was going to go to 2nd for the force out on Goldschmidt, but when he got into his glove, he couldn't find the baseball, and then he panics. Watch his reaction when he goes into his glove. He's going to 2nd. Oh, I don't find the baseball, and then he rushed to throw and misses the mark across the diamond. Well, you won't see this happen very often, but he just throws one wide of the mark. He's one of the best throwers in all of baseball, and that time he missed the mark because he panicked a little bit after the bobble.
So the error gives the Cardinals a 1-0 lead. 2nd and 3rd, 2 down. And the batter was Nolan Gorman, who grounded out his first time up. And a little squibber past a diving Chapman and down the line. And this will bring in 2 runs. And the Cardinals now lead 3-0.
When you open the door for good teams, they're going to kick the door wide open, and that's what happened here in this inning. A routine ground ball to third looked like it was going to end the inning, and then runners at second and third, and Gorman stays on that splitter and hits it past Chapman, who is well off the line. And these two runners are going to come in and score easily. But boy, oh boy, you just make mistakes against good teams, and it's going to cost you.
Tyler O'Neill, the batter.
When you think about the psychology of a pitcher, when he makes a pitch and gets a ground ball off the bat of Arenado, he's thinking, okay, I'm out of the inning. It's hit to Chapman. That's it, done. And now you got to refocus and regroup, and it cost you 3 runs.
Now the play, an 0-2 on O'Neill. And Goldschmidt kept it alive by flaring one to right center. That got Arenado to the plate. And then Gorman didn't hit it hard at all, but like the Blue Jays on Thursday, he just hit it to the right spot, and it drives in a couple. Diving back in is Gorman. Boy, it makes you think even more about all the chances the Blue Jays have been given today on the other side, and unable to come up with a hit yet. They have been issued 6 walks and had a hit batter, but unable to score so far off Jack Flaherty. And a chase there by O'Neill. That'll end the inning. But the Cardinals get 3 and lead 3-0. Cardinals now leading 3-0 as we go to the top of the 4th. And Danny Jansen leading it off for the Blue Jays. Jansen walked back in the 2nd. 7, 8, 9. Jansen, Biggio, and Kiermaier. Fastball fouled back below us. 1-2. Flags blowing out towards the right field corner right now. They keep changing direction. A little check swing tapper towards third. Backhanded by Arenado, and the throw just in time. 1 down.
Yeah, you look at Flaherty and what he has done so far. He's thrown 67 pitches here as he's starting the 4th inning, and just couldn't get his command early on. But the Blue Jays, like Dan mentioned, had so many opportunities, just hopeful that somebody would get a hit. They've stranded 6 so far in this game.
Cavan Biggio up for the 2nd time. He was hit by a pitch his first time up. It's 3 balls and no strikes. There was some milling about in the 3rd inning, I think it was, but nobody actually took the jacket off, started throwing for the Cardinals, but they were close. But then Flaherty retired 3 in a row after a couple of walks. And he walks Biggio here, the 7th walk and the 8th base runner for the Blue Jays as we go down to field level. And Hazel May.
Dan, Cavan Biggio is going into the season with a slightly different mindset. He told me he's going to be more open-minded defensively. He said, knowing I can play any position on any given day is what I've expressed to manager John Schneider. He didn't want to be limited to just in one position and in turn be limited to at-bats that way. So he'd like to be in the lineup as much as possible. He thinks he can help this team out this year. Dan?
All right, Hazel, thank you. Biggio, Espinal, Merrifield, obviously all of them would like to help the team as much as they can. They can all play multiple positions. Biggio at first. Kevin Kiermaier, the batter, flied out to center his first time up. 2-0. strike, 2-1.
Yeah, he breaks that breaking ball in there. That's the one pitch that he's had confidence in, that he can throw a strike with it. He hasn't had any real good luck with his fastball command. It's been all over the map.
74 pitches, only 33 strikes. But the Blue Jays still don't have a hit off it. Two. And that's in ball 3. What's your guess on whether they start Biggio here?
I wouldn't start him. You got Springer up next. Down by 3. You hope to get another base runner for Springer, top of the order.
Not going. And popped up shallow right, going back. The second baseman, and making the catch is Donovan. Boy, a terrific play made by Brendan Donovan, who won the inaugural National League Utility Gold Glove Award last year. Second base, one of the 6 positions he played a season ago.
Well, and he does a great job because he recognizes, look at the right fielder. He broke back initially, and Donovan never gave up. Never had any concern about the outfielder coming from right field. He just stays with it and then alertly turns and fires to first. Heads up play by the second baseman.
So 2 down. Biggio still at first, and now 0-1 on George Springer. Springer is 0 for 2 today, a fly ball and a double play grounder. They play Springer to pull about as much as you can, and Springer by far was the right-handed batter on the Blue Jays who was shifted against the most often last year. They didn't shift on Guerrero all that much, never really shifted on Bichette or Kirk, and didn't shift as much on guys like Lourdes Gurriel or Teoscar Hernandez as they did on Springer. But we saw a lot more of the action going to the opposite field from Springer back in spring training. And strike 3 called right on the outside corner. Another walk and another man left on by the Blue Jays. On Tuesday, April the 11th, against the Detroit Tigers. A long road trip for the Blue Jays, but 10 days from now, the home opener with all of the renovations at Rogers Center. Underway, bottom 4. Cardinals up 3-0. Jordan Walker looks at ball 1. Walker with an infield hit, his first hit. All 3 runs in the third, by the way, unearned because of the error committed by Matt Chapman with 2 outs that would have ended the inning. Popped up shallow center. Biggio back, gets called off by Kiermaier, who makes the catch. 2 down. The ball still goes around the infield after an out or after a strikeout. You've got 30 seconds between batters until things have to get going with the next batter. Plenty of time. Gausman has not seemed rushed at all at any point today as Tommy Edman steps in.
Gausman's throwing the ball very well. He's really made some good pitches. He's got 4 strikeouts, hasn't walked a batter, which is his regular profile. And there's another good pitch right on the inside corner.
That was a timeout there called by Edman. Again, for those who aren't completely up to speed on all the new rules, batters get 1 timeout per plate appearance. Then you see the umpire make that signal with his hand saying, okay, the clock is back in, so it goes back to 15. As Edman hits a roller through the right side for a base hit on an 0-2 pitch.
That's a tough play right there because Vladimir Guerrero might have had a chance to go after this ball. It wasn't that sharply hit, but his initial reaction was to go to first base. It's a softly hit ground ball. Vladdy takes a step toward the ball, and then you can see Vladdy in the background. He was frustrated because he felt like he had a chance to make a play on it. If he goes after it initially, he might make a play on it. But he took 1 step and then decided, nope. Not sure if he could have made a play, but he seemed to think that he had a shot at making a play on that ball.
So now you got to deal with a good hitter in Brendan Donovan and a great base stealer in Tommy Edman. 32 for 35 a year ago. Not going. And it's outside, a ball and a strike.
Gausman used a slide step right there pretty effectively. It's another aspect of how he's trying to improve. You know, the thought is base running is going to be up as everybody is more aware that it's going to be easier for base stealers to run.
The disengagement rule that pitchers are under. There goes Edman, and the pitch fouled back by Donovan. 1-2. Also, the bigger bases put you just a little bit closer to the next base. And you know, how often do you see a base stealing attempt be a bang bang play?
Especially in this day and age of replay. 3, 4, 4.5 inches make a big deal.
Yep. A ball and 2 strikes. And another throw over. Was that the first? The umpires will tell us. Yeah, 1. All the umpires after a throw over, all 4 umpires will reach out with both their right and left hands and signal whether that's the first or the second disengagement. A throw over, a step off, anything like that counts as a disengagement. I don't think I ever said the word disengagement on the air before this year. Have you?
No. It's not something I normally think about in a baseball game.
No, we're going to be saying it a lot. It's going to become a big part of our vocabulary on the air. Gausman the set. And strike 3 called. 94 at the knees to freeze Donovan and strand Edman at first. It's from anywhere in Ontario at BlueJays.com/5050. Is that the one you made the phone call to the winner?
Yes, it is. I was a fortunate one that got to call the winners, and they were underwhelmed.
Underwhelmed?
Underwhelmed. Yeah. Okay. I said, yeah, congratulations. This is Buck Martinez, and I want to thank you for playing the Jays Care 50-50, and you just won $3.2 million. Okay. Thank you.
Wow. What do they win jackpots every week? How could they be underwhelmed?
They didn't think it was me. They thought it was a prank. But we got it all straightened out. It was pretty cool.
Bo Bichette grounds out for the first out here in the top of the 5th. Jack Flaherty somehow has pitched around 7 walks and a hit batter. The Blue Jays 0 for 8 with men on base, 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. has walked twice.
Well, he's got a no-hitter. And the Blue Jays have had plenty of chances.
They've left 7 on. They've hit into a double play.
Joe Cali threw a no-hitter, walking 7 back in 1986, pitching for the White Sox against the Angels out in Anaheim. It was one of these games like this, like, wow, he can't throw a strike, and they kept sticking with him. Fregosi was the manager at the time, and they kept saying, well, we got to make a change. And he kept getting outs right at the crucial point of the ball game, and he threw a 9-inning no-hitter. Gave up 1 run. He walked 7 and struck out 8.
A.J. Burnett threw a no-hitter, walking 9 with the Marlins back in 2001. And neither one of us is suggesting that Jack Flaherty is going to be around for 9
no,
innings
he won't
today.
pitch 9 innings today.
Yeah.
I think Edwin Jackson had a similar no-hitter like that.
Yeah.
It's one of those days, and you just thought, oh, he's going to be out of the game after the first, maybe after the second. Oh, now the third. He walked 2 to start the inning, but then he retired the next 3 in order.
3-2 on Guerrero.
He's gotten Brandon Belt twice in very pivotal at-bats. Struck him out both times on a fastball the first time, a curveball the second time. Ooh.
Wow.
Wow.
Would he want that one back?
I want to see the speed of that swing.
Yeah.
He had some cut at this pitch. Boy, his eyes lit up when he saw this one coming. And Flaherty's lucky that he found it straight back.
Bouncer to third, charging Arenado, and out at first in a very close play. Looked like Arenado had just a little trouble getting the ball out of his glove.
Boy, he is good. He has such a great. Now, obviously, he's won 10 straight Gold Gloves. He's the best in the game today. But watch how accurate he is throwing full speed. He taps his glove and does that pretty much all the time to twist the ball and get it in the four-seam grip. And he does that by design. He will take the ball and roll it around until he feels that four-seam grip when he knows he can really throw a strong, true throw.
Dalton Varsho hits it hard but foul down the right field line.
Watch Arenado. Watch, he gets the ball, gets it there. See how he turns the ball in his hand?
Yep.
And he does it all the time. And you know what? We always talk to kids about how do you grip the ball. And you see a kid pick up a baseball for the first time, and he has no idea. But Arenado always rolls that ball to get the four-seam grip.
So it wasn't a juggle, it was a tap.
Yep.
But you've got to know you've got enough time to do the tap. But he obviously has a great clock in his head and feels comfortable doing it.
Yeah, he just makes sure, and that's why he's such a good thrower. He's a fun guy to talk to about baseball. He loves baseball. He loves watching other good players. And he was talking to me about Vladdy here on opening day. He said, man, he's got great bat speed. I'd like to get to where he is with my bat speed. I mean, there's a great player acknowledging what Vladdy does.
Count remains 1-2 on Varsho. He has walked and flied out. And Flaherty gets him swinging. Fourth strikeout of the afternoon for Flaherty. Still 3-0 Cardinals as we send it back to the studio and Jamie Campbell.
Thank you, Dan. It's time for the
One of those Vladdy bobbleheads, huh? I've had a number of people ask me already.
Well, we better get there early on the 12th. And right on cue, a two-hopper hit well right to him. One down. Burleson retired.
You know, Vladdy won that Gold Glove last year, and at the end of the season, Louis Rivera, in their kind of exit meeting, talked about, Vladdy, do you think you can get better at first? And he says, yeah, I think I can get better at first. And then the Blue Jays brought in Don Mattingly. And to watch Mattingly and Guerrero work all spring long, it was amazing how consistent they were and the things that Mattingly has introduced to Vladdy. The subtleties of playing first base. And in my mind, Mattingly was the best first baseman in the American League during his playing days, and as good as the former Cardinal Keith Hernandez at the position. Hernandez won 11 Gold Gloves. Mattingly won 9. Hernandez won 6 as a Cardinal and 5 as a Met. And Mattingly, and they played first base like an offensive position. They just really added so much to the defense when they were at first base, on bunt plays, on double plays, on digging balls out of the dirt. They were as good as it gets.
I mean, whether you're a first baseman like Guerrero or any young hitter on the team, how can you not be going over to that guy to try to benefit from his experience? Swing and a miss as Gausman rings up Paul Goldschmidt. 2 down.
6 strikeouts now for Kevin, and I tell you, we've emphasized this fastball. He's thrown a lot of real good fastballs down in the zone. He got Brendan Donovan to end the 4th inning with a 94-mile-an-hour fastball down, and that was part of his goal in the spring, to master that low fastball.
And he has certainly pitched very well today. By all measures, this should be a scoreless game, and Matt Chapman would be the first one to tell you that. There were 3 hits in the inning. One was a flare and one was like a squib up the opposite line. That scored 2 runs after the Chapman error had let the first run in.
Yeah, the Chapman error came with 2 outs. It looked like a routine fielder's choice. He was going to second base to get Goldschmidt, and then couldn't come up with the ball cleanly out of his glove and threw late and wide at first base.
But if you said to Gosman right now, where do you want the next ball hit? He'd still say third base. Right?
They all would.
Yeah. This is one of the few occasions ever where Matt Chapman might not be the best third baseman in the ballpark. The guy in the batter's box now has won 10 Gold Gloves. And again, they were high school teammates, but these two are as good as it gets.
Yeah, 10 Gold Gloves. That ties it with Mike Schmidt for the second most by a third baseman. Of course, the great Oriole Brooks Robinson has won 16 Gold Gloves.
One and two on Arenado. Activity now in the Cardinals bullpen. Right-hander Drew Verhagen is up. Flaherty 5 scoreless innings and actually has settled down after all the walks early. As at this point has retired 9 of the last 10. Back to the mound. Gosman had to wait on it a little bit, but will make the play. And he sets down the 2, 3, 4 hitters in the Cardinal lineup in order. Any hits against them.
Yeah, he kind of got settled in and really sorted things out after horrible first couple of innings. He threw 95 pitches. He's in line for the win, and now it's up to the bullpen. Verhagen pitched in the opener last year. He got into 19 games.
Spent parts of 6 different seasons with the Tigers. Went 2/3 of an inning, gave up a hit, but nothing more on Thursday. He will face Matt Chapman, Brandon Belt, and Danny Jansen here in the 6th inning.
He faced 3 batters in the opener on Thursday. He struck out Springer, gave up a base hit to Bo, and had a fielder's choice off the bat of Vladdy, and then he was out of the game.
And a swing and a miss to get Chapman. One down as we send it down to field level, and Hazel May.
You know, Dan and Buck, the discomfort in Brandon Belt's knee last season really changed his approach. He told me, because I didn't feel like I was quick enough to get to that baseball, but now that I have my knee back, I'm going to have to flip a switch rather in my head mentally, knowing that I am capable of getting to those pitches. It's definitely going to be a bit of an adjustment for me, and he admitted to being a little jumpy in the season opener. He said the hardest part in trying not to change too much of who you are as a hitter, regardless of how you feel physically. Guys?
Hazel, thank you. And that's one of the unknowns about Brandon Belt coming off the knee surgery. Hit just .213 last year. In 2021 had a great year offensively. So, you know, you never know coming off an injury how quickly or thoroughly a player will respond. But even if the Blue Jays kind of got, you know, career norm Brandon Belt, they'd be very happy with that.
Yeah, when he was healthy, he was always putting up good numbers against right-handed pitching. His OPS was among the top 10 in the National League when he was healthy. And you can see the Cardinals know him well. They have pitched a lot against him, and they pound him inside and throw him breaking balls down and in. He's better off out over the plate. So, as Flaherty did with him, struck him out twice. Verhagen is pitching him inside as well.
Takes it low, 2-2. Arenado moving further and further off the line at third base. They do not expect Belt to hit the ball on the ground the opposite way. Pops it up foul out of play over the third base dugout. Still 2-2.
Yeah, he's gotten a steady dose of breaking balls so far this afternoon.
High fastball up and in on his hands, fouls it off. Still 2-2. And a bouncer to the right side. Donovan to his left, and the short throw to first. 2 down. So now Danny Jansen with the Blue Jays still looking for their first hit of the ball game. Jansen has walked and grounded out.
Isn't that something? 19 hits on Thursday. Nary a one so far today. .95 and in there, 0-1.
All kinds of action around the majors today and tonight. Just 5 games last night, but everybody back at it today. Milwaukee and the Cubs are scoreless in the 6th. The White Sox and the Astros are tied in the 5th. Bunch of games going on tonight, including Colorado trying to beat San Diego for the 3rd day in a row. Swing and a miss. Jansen down on strikes. On to the bottom of the 6th. Still 3-0 Cardinals. Bottom 6. Cardinals 3. Blue Jays nothing. And we are told those are family members of Zach Pop who are here in St. Louis.
Quite a few family members have made their way to St. Louis for this opening weekend. There was a big Manoa contingent. I met Tim Mace's dad during the course of these days. A lot of wives are here with the kids. It's pretty cool.
With the off day yesterday, a chance to bring the families along. There's Nolan Gorman. He had that 2-run single, that little squib up the third baseline past a diving Chapman that made it a 3-0 game, which it still is right now.
Really haven't been many hard hit balls given up by Kevin Gausman this afternoon.
3-1 on Gorman with Tyler O'Neill on deck. Jordan Walker behind him. And outside, ball 4. That is the first walk surrendered today by Gausman.
Enter the TD Grand Slam contest, and you can win the ultimate Blue Jays prize pack for 4, including a meet and greet with George Springer.
Great baseball town here in St. Louis. Folks all over the place for this series. Tyler O'Neill, the batter. He has struck out in each of his 2 at-bats. So on Thursday, as you know, I described him as Burnaby's Tyler O'Neill. And boy, did I hear about that.
I'm laughing a bit because I know what the results are.
Boy, did I hear about that. So I went down and spoke to Tyler today during batting practice. And I said, can you help me out? And I said, you were born in Burnaby, right? And he said, yeah. And in the Cardinals media guide and on a lot of baseball websites, it says Burnaby. I said, where are you from? He said, well, the hospital that I was born in is in Burnaby, but I grew up in Maple Ridge. So I said, what should I say? He said, you should say Maple Ridge. I said, okay, I said Maple Ridge. So my apologies to everybody in Maple Ridge. And we talked a little bit about the WBC, and boy, did he have a good experience. Just it's just a different, and you know this better than me, you were covering some of the games. It's just a different feeling, a different energy for players who represent their country, and he wants to go back and do it again in 2026, and you know, hoping like everybody that Canada will have a few more of its players available, a few more healthy guys maybe who can go play, but he loved the experience. Line drive right center. Cut off by Springer. Gorman around to third on a base hit for O'Neill.
Well, we talk about the WBC. Tyler O'Neill had a couple of real good games in that tournament. This is against Great Britain. He hits one to the cap in right field, and that would clear the bases. He drove in all 3 runs with his base hit to right field, an extra base hit. And he was one of the senior guys on that team. He and Freddie Freeman were the experienced big leaguers, and they did an awful lot to pass on their experience to the youngsters. It's baseball in its purest form, because it's all about winning games.
First and third, nobody out. Jordan Walker, the batter. Walker an infield hit and a ground out. And for Team Canada, you know, whether it was injuries or insurance/injuries, or guys who were right on the cusp of making their team and maybe wanted to focus more on the major league season than something like that, they weren't able to have everybody they wanted. But, you know, you could easily see a Zach Pop pitching for Canada in 3 years. hopefully for many reasons, Mike Soroka can get and stay healthy. But wouldn't he be a wonderful addition to the rotation for Team Canada?
I spoke to Zach Pop about that today, and he said, yeah, I'm really hopeful that I am in a position to play for Team Canada next time. Obviously, he was more concerned about making this Blue Jays team this spring.
And it worked out for him.
Yes, it did.
Ground ball to third. Chapman to second, one. And now Biggio's got the runner hung up. Throw to the plate. They don't get him. And will the Blue Jays challenge?
Well, you got to challenge this one no matter what you think. Just take a shot that the umpire missed the play. Cavan made a terrific play, and they're going to look at the replay. But, boy, what a heads-up play by Cavan. And we talk about the emphasis on defense. Always look around. The runner at third stops, and then Cavan makes the force out and runs toward home plate. And the throw just a little bit late. Gorman slides in ahead of the throw and looked like he extended his arm and avoided the tag, and Cavan may have been better off just to throw it and not take those extra steps toward home. But they stopped the runner initially, and you know what, in that situation, most times the base runner is told, hey, go, anything on the ground you got to go because there's nobody out. But he hesitated. Cavan picked up on the hesitation. There's the stop, and then Cavan took a couple of extra steps instead of throwing initially. I mean, here's another situation where catcher slides a little bit further to his left, blocks the path of the base runner, and he can't extend that arm out. Catchers can block the path as that ball is coming to you. You move into the base path, and you block the runner from sliding in there and scoring. But it was the right play by Biggio because that base runner had stopped, especially because there were no outs. He had a shot to cut down that run at the plate.
So a fairly lengthy review right now on this challenge. One more look. The call on the field is overturned. So a successful challenge for the Blue Jays. Gorman out at the plate. And in the end, that is a 5-4-2 double play.
How about the emphasis on defense? And they have practiced this so much all spring long, and we have seen the dividends pay off in the first two games of the season. Heads up play by Cavan.
And then the next pitch to Andrew Kisner is lined into left center, a base hit. Walker up to second, so it is first and second with two outs, and the score still 3-0 here for the Cardinals. And activity now in the Blue Jays bullpen. Both Trevor Richards and Adam Simber are up in the pen as Tommy Edman comes to the plate. Edman 1 for 2. Boy, and if you're Gosman, no disrespect to Edman, but you want to do everything you can to end it right here, not have to deal with Donovan. Edman's a pretty good number 9 hitter, though. He is, the prototypical pesky hitter. He'll put the ball in place, got great speed.
He had a 2-out base hit his last time up in the 4th, but was stranded when Gosman struck out Donovan to end that inning.
Blocked by Jansen. 2 balls and a strike.
The outfielders have to be very aware of who's running at second base. Jordan Walker, the base runner at second, has got terrific speed. The Cardinals have been okay with runners in scoring position, not great, but Walker, he's going to get a good break on contact with 2 outs.
Foul back, and it's 2-2.
One thing he doesn't have is a very big lead. He should have a bigger lead in this situation from second base. It's a very conservative lead. Now with 2 strikes, he'll be moving as soon as he sees that bat headed through the hitting zone, but he doesn't have a very big lead. He can really get a great secondary lead.
Play on, and back safely is Walker.
Timely use of the pickoff play, just to shorten him up even a little bit more.
Two. Back out of play again.
That was really funny because when that pitch was delivered, Walker was breaking back towards second.
Yeah.
You can't be doing that in a run scoring situation with 2 outs. You always got to be thinking ahead. Watch the base runner. He took a step back towards second.
And a fastball at 96 to strike him out and end the inning. So a big double play, a successful challenge, still 3-0.
Ribbon cutting ceremony, and Hazel May is going to be the hostess for that. That's pretty awesome.
Yes.
And then we'll see it on the 10th when we get back from Anaheim. Going to be great.
Andre Palante is into the game now for the Cardinals. The Blue Jays saw him for an inning and a third on opening day. First batter he'll face is Cavan Biggio. It'll be Biggio, Kiermaier, and Springer. 8-9-1 here in the 7th inning, with the Blue Jays still looking for their first hit of the ball game.
Palante's got a very good curveball. You mentioned an inning in the 3rd. He gave up an RBI single to Matt Chapman in the 7th inning of that game. He came into the ball game and closed out the 6th and then pitched the 7th.
In there, 1-2.
Got a good fastball. It'll average about 95, but his plus pitch is that good hook. He throws 2 fastballs, a 4-seamer and a 2-seamer. Both average over 94 miles an hour.
Sun breaking through here from time to time in St. Louis. Breaking ball hits softly up the middle, and that is caught on the fly by Edman, the shortstop, for the first out.
Yeah, a little jam shot here off the fist of Biggio, and Edman picks it just before it hits the dirt behind second base. And Palante's got that good fastball.
So now Kevin Kiermaier 0 for 2. And there is the first hit of the ball game for the Blue Jays as he lines one into right center. That is the 3rd hit in 2 games now for Kiermaier.
He told me in the spring he wanted to be the best number 9 hitter in baseball, and he's off to a good start to accomplish that. And he jumps on that first pitch, a 2-seamer that ran out over the plate, a little bit up about belt high, and he hit it hard. He had a couple of great at-bats in the opener on Thursday, including that big single, and he scored the winning run in the 9th inning.
So now man on for the top of the order, George Springer. Springer is 0 for 3. 5 for 6 on day 1. By the way, for Kiermaier, you said he hit it hard. You're right. All 3 of the hits that he's had have been over 100 miles an hour, and he's got a chance to be. Obviously, he'll have a big impact defensively. We've seen the base running. Got a chance to be a real factor if he can stay healthy down in the 9 spot and set the table for the big boys at the top.
He has really embraced his new team, and we have heard him talk timelessly about how impressed he was. The Blue Jays reached out to him right away when he hit free agency and said, you know what, you're part of our plan. We want you to play center for us.
Yeah, I think initially when the signing occurred, I think a lot of people thought, well, you know, 4th outfielder, and you know, it was early, right? And there would be more moves coming. But he said in his introductory press conference right away that when he and Ross Atkins started talking, that Ross said, no, you're going to be the center fielder. I mean, obviously he'll get days off here and there. He's had some injuries in his career. He's in his 30s. You want to keep him fresh. Ground ball to short, a bit of a wide throw to second. They will get the out there. It's on the transfer that Donovan lost it, so it'll be a fielder's choice. Springer at first, 2 down.
Yeah, that looked like a routine double play that might end the inning. Edmonds' throw just a little bit off, and you can see how off balance it forces Donovan. He catches it, but you know, I mean, that's a play that you could argue all day long about. Did he go into his glove? He had it in his glove. He never took it out of the glove, but he's called out, and now there are 2 outs for both.
Bichette 0 for 2 with a walk.
He just stepped off the rubber, and that is counted as a disengagement. And now it's a time. Hold on. They didn't start the clock. That's what the issue was. They hadn't started the clock after the disengagement, so the umpire behind home plate called time and wanted to make sure the clock got reset to 20 seconds. That was the issue there.
A lot for these umpires to keep an eye on with the new rules. "15 seconds from the time the pitcher gets the ball back with nobody on base, 20 with a runner or runners on base. And didn't hear much at all in the first couple of days of the regular season about violations. One and 2 on Bichette.
Now Plante's got a couple of real good breaking balls, a curveball and a slider, and those had to really extend to make contact with that last pitch. Blue Jays came back a couple of times late in the game. They scored 2 in the 8th and 2 in the 9th to win the opener.
Bouncer to the right side. Goldschmidt will feed Palante covering, and the Blue Jays are retired. 7th inning stretch here in St. Louis. The Cardinals still leading 3-0. 1 walk, 7 strikeouts. Kind of tough luck in a different sort of way for Gausman here this afternoon.
Yeah, he really pitched well, and obviously without that air it would be a scoreless game, but he turns it over to the bullpen. Adam Simber last season had a terrific season, a career high in appearances, and he is fresh back to give it another go. Not a hard thrower by any means, but man, he can pitch. He's got 2 fastballs. He'll throw a 2-seamer, a 4-seamer, and a slider. And he can handle left-handed hitters. He has moved to the extreme third base side of the rubber. He's barely making contact with that rubber. His heel is basically the last part of his foot that's making contact with that rubber. How far he extends over there to improve that angle.
Brendan Donovan leading it off in the bottom of the 7th, and a fly ball to right center, caught by George Springer. 1 down.
Simber knows about lefties, and you would think that lefties would have an advantage hitting against him because they can see the ball a long way. But because he can get the ball inside so effectively, both with the 2-seam fastball, the 4-seam fastball, and also he can run that slider in on their hands. It's kind of counterintuitive when you have left-handers coming up that you go to Adam Simber first, but he really neutralizes the left-handed bats.
214 overall, as you say, against lefties last year. They hit just 169 off his fastball. You know, this is a guy 10 years ago. If he were exactly who he is now 10 years ago, never would he come in against lefties. But they just wouldn't do it, as you
said. But now they have so much information about location and spin rate and elevating. And when he warms up, it was interesting. When he warms up, for instance, coming into this game, he knew he was going to face the 2 lefties at the top of the order. So what he'll do is he'll focus on making pitches to the glove side, inside, and belt high and above. That's what he warms up with, like right there. But I asked him, I said, what do you want to know when you're getting ready to come into a game? He says, I want to know who's up and what their weaknesses are. That's all. So now if it's a left-hander, I'm going to warm up and throw a lot of those pitches to the glove side of the home plate. Up, just like that. It's 85 miles an hour, but it's effective. Once again, and this is something that I truly believe in, it's not about velocity as much as it is about location. Tom Seaver said the least important thing in pitching is velocity. It just doesn't have that much of an impact. We saw that firsthand in the opener on Thursday with Jordan Hicks and Ryan Helsley, the two setup and closers for the Cardinals. They both averaged 100 miles an hour with their fastball. The Blue Jays scored 4 runs.
Battle continues here between Simber and Alec Burleson. It's still 1-2. And another foul off.
There's a stat that we see in StatCast called run value. Run value for pitchers, and they're calculated, and I'm not going to go into how you calculate it, but it's the value of a particular pitch. A fastball, for instance. Justin Verlander's fastball is the most valuable fastball in baseball. It's 24 runs better than everybody else's fastball. Opponents hit just 194. Adam Simber is 71st, and that's pretty good.
Popped up. Long run in. Varsho is there in shallow left center. And Trevor Richards is up in the pen, and standing behind him, that's Jeff Ware, who is a newcomer, right, to the Blue Jays staff. He was in Buffalo for many years, but he is the bullpen coach. For those who don't know, Matt Bushman left for other opportunities in the offseason, so Jeff Ware is now big league coach with this team.
Very, very respected. He pitched for the Blue Jays. He's coached in the minors, and he has earned this opportunity, and they're happy to have him.
Paul Goldschmidt, a liner to right, and it is caught. Oh, it looked like the sun was getting in there for George Springer, but he made the catch, and the inning is over. Time now for very playable there this afternoon here in St. Louis. The Blue Jays hoping to get the bats heated up and running out of time. It is the 8th inning. They are down 3-0, and for the second game in a row, Buck, they will see Jordan Hicks.
Hicks came into the 8th inning and gave up a 2-run double to Vladdy Guerrero, who will start this game, a 2-run single, excuse me. He'll start this inning against Hicks.
As we talked about on Thursday, one of the hardest throwers in baseball. Hit 104 the other day. New left fielder for St. Louis is Dylan Carlson. A starter most of last year, injuries aside, but with Jordan Walker coming to the big leagues this year, the 20-year-old out of AA, Carlson right now is kind of the odd man out. He's the 4th outfielder on this team.
He's a good outfielder. He's a center fielder. He can really catch it out there. He got good speed and had a good spring, but he's been squeezed out so far this season.
And in there at 100, it's 2-2. Guerrero, Varsho, and Chapman for the Blue Jays here in the 8th inning. Just one hit this afternoon for the Jays. A single by Kevin Kiermaier an inning ago.
That's emergency hack right there. He got that ball inside, and it looked like a slider that backed up on Vladdy, and he was able to fight it off and stay alive.
The 2-2 again, and another slider, and that's way down and away, a full count. Runs in on him, and Guerrero draws his 3rd walk of the game.
Step up to the plate and take on any DIY project. At Home Hardware Building Centers, we have everything to build anything. Here's how.
Middle game of 3 here in St. Louis. The Blue Jays and the Cardinals. Blue Jays winning the opener, down 3-0 here. Hoping to get something going here in the 8th inning. Dalton Varsho is the batter. He is over 2 with a walk. Blue Jays have had 10 base runners today, but have yet to score. All those walks early given up by Jack Flaherty, and he managed to pitch around them. But the natives are getting restless here with Jordan Hicks in the count 2-0. And that's an interesting move right there. Vladdy's not going anywhere.
No.
Like that just screams Jordan Hicks is not quite sure what he wants to do next,
that's
right?
a great point. Yeah, there's no reason to run here, no reason to think that he's going to run. And Hicks is having trouble again. We talk about location, and here's a great example. Adam Simber comes in, he can locate at 85. Hicks comes in, he can't locate at 102.
And that's ball 4. Back-to-back walks, and all of a sudden the tying run is going to come to the plate. Hicks just dropped the return feed from Kisner as well. And if you're Ollie Marmol and the Cardinals, you know, huge arm, obviously, pitching in a key spot here, late inning leverage, but it looks like they might be getting somebody up after back-to-back walks. And Dusty Blake, the pitching coach, is going to come out to the mound. They're going to buy some time for the bullpen, as left-hander Zach Thompson looks like he's going to start throwing.
He's going to have to hurry up and throw quickly. He had a very good outing, an inning and 2/3 on Thursday. Gave up just a hit and struck out 3. He got a great curveball, so he's going to crank it up in a hurry. As the pitching coach is out to buy some time for Thompson down in that bullpen. But Jordan Hicks hasn't been close. I mean, that's what we talked about, and we talked a little bit about this on Thursday about, you know, 100% effort pitchers make a lot of mistakes out over the plate. And, you know, now hitters are immune to velocity. They see so much velocity. They have machines now that can throw 100 consistently and really challenge hitters.
Matt Chapman takes 102 in for a strike. 2 on with nobody out. Hicks on the mound, Thompson warming, Brandon Belt on deck. And a lot of decisions may be coming for both managers here in the next couple of batters. And this is where the Blue Jays are just a fundamentally different team offensively because of the left-handed bats. There's a ground ball up the middle. Edmonds got it. Underhands to second in time. They force Varsho. Guerrero to third, and Chapman aboard on a fielder's choice.
Well, here's an interesting position for both managers right now. Brandon Belt coming to the plate has struck out and gone over 2. Here's the play. Edmund makes a nice play to get the force out at second. But do you leave Hicks in there to face Belt, or do you go to the bullpen?
But if you go to the bullpen for the lefty,
is on the bench,
or Alejandro Kirk is on the bench.
Either one of them,
right?
that's right.
This is where things are much different. Woo! Inside into the backstop. Guerrero coming home and in to score. Chapman takes second, and that is how the Blue Jays score their first run of the afternoon.
Wow. Walks a wild pitch, a fielder's choice in this inning, and that is really inside, and Kisner was late reacting to it, and the run comes in to score. Things are getting interesting.
But to your point, like a year ago, the opposing manager would just roll out righty after righty after righty out of the bullpen. Fastball, slider guy, fastball, slider guy. And there were very few moves to be made because of the composition of the lineup. Obviously, that's much different now. You get a lefty up. Now John Schneider's got to consider what he would do if Ollie Marmol goes to the pen. But if they bring in the lefty for Biggio and Kiermaier, you know, Schneider's got 3 right-handed bats on the bench: Espinal, Merrifield, and Kirk. And maybe that's why Ollie Marmol has a righty up as well. He might opt to leave a righty in rather than bring guys like Kirk and Merrifield off the bench.
Right.
Foul back, and it's a full count on Belt.
Good cut by Brandon there. Pretty good idea. He's going to get that hard fastball, and he fouled it straight back.
A run in on the wild pitch, and the tying run at the plate. And there's ball 4. So Belt down to first. He represents the tying run, and he's going to come out of the game now for a pinch runner. Nathan Lucas is going to run for Belt. Lucas in his second game of the big leagues, and he's come on as a pinch runner in each of them. All kinds of family here. We talked about it on Thursday. So Belt takes a walk, and he is out of the game. And that's going to be all for Jordan Hicks. Another tough outing for him. And the signal appears to be for the right-hander from Ollie Marmol. The new pitcher for the Cardinals, a guy with a lot of closing experience, had 19 of them last year for St. Louis, and a guy that Ollie Marmol may be asking to go the rest of the way. Giovanni Gallegos apparently unable to pitch today, so Ryan Helsley in, perhaps looking for 5 outs.
Yeah. Gallegos pitched for Mexico in the World Baseball Classic, but he injured himself on Wednesday prior to opening day, out throwing around, and came back the next day, and his back tightened up, and they're concerned it might be a little bit more than a stiff back. So he's not available. So Helsley might have to go 2 innings in this situation.
Danny Jansen, the batter. Matt Chapman at second. Nathan Lucas, the pinch runner, at first. And Jansen takes ball 1.
Well, I tell you what, the Blue Jays, to a man, have not chased borderline pitches today. Yeah, the pitchers have been all over the place, but nobody's expanded their zone and chased.
Fouled off the mask of Kisner, the catcher, and it's 1-1.
Well, the umpire is going to give Kisner a little time to regroup, so he walks the baseball out to the pitcher. And he's giving him a little extra time.
This is where the umpire has discretion to tell the clock operator in the ballpark, hang on a sec, and he'll make a signal at some point to get it started again. One and one, the count on Jansen. And he'll take down and away. Ball 2. Got a couple of left-handed bats coming next, and Kevin Biggio and Kevin Kiermaier. And just high for ball 3.
And Helsley has to face 3 batters, so he will have to face the 2 lefties. They can't make a move.
Fastball popped up back of the plate. Kisner back for a look and runs out of room. It's about 5 rows in, and a full count now on Jansen. Ground ball weakly back towards the mound. And boy, Helsley looked over there, and Goldschmidt wasn't there yet. He must have been playing far off the bag. But eventually he got there in plenty of time. The second out as the runners advance.
But now they have the tying run in scoring position, as there was a hesitation. Helsley looked in because Goldschmidt was so far off the bag, he had to wait a little while to get there.
So now with 2 outs, it's Biggio. Cavan has been hit by a pitch. He has walked, and he has popped up. Way down and in again. 2-0.
You know he's not going to chase. So Helsley's going to have to throw a strike. And Cavan's got to be ready. If he gets his fastball out over the plate, let her rip.
Grounded to first. Goldschmidt has it, and the Blue Jays will leave a couple of men on. They get 1, but that's all. And it's on to the bottom of the 8th with the Cardinals leading 3-1. They are down 3-1, bottom of the 8th inning. And the new pitcher making his second appearance as a Blue Jay in the regular season is right-hander Eric Swanson.
Swanson, you see an outstanding year last year. 57 games for the Mariners. Whip under 1. And they hit just over 200 against him. Adam Simber, a terrific 1-2-3 7th inning. Now they're having trouble with the pitch count, I think. Danny Jansen and Swanson. And now they're going to restart the clock.
And again, some discretion for the umpires depending on what the issue is. Outside, ball 1. Nolan Arenado 0 for 3. Reached on that error committed by Matt Chapman, which led to the first run scoring. A base hit would drive in the other 2 Cardinal runs. Arenado, Gorman, and O'Neill 4, 5, 6 in the Cardinal lineup coming up here. And Swanson, that fastball, a very effective pitch. Obviously the splitter is as well. He's kind of sort of like Gausman as a reliever. Fastball up, splitter down, sliders away to the righties. Gets a lot of swing and miss on that fastball. This one is laced into left center, a base hit for Arenado.
Arenado really shortened up his stroke and just stayed on this ball. Kind of an interesting swing, how he just kind of takes the barrel to the bat. Watch how he finishes on this pitch. Just kind of concentrating on putting the bat on the ball. I mean, he's rewarded with a leadoff single here in the 8th. He can really hit, man.
So now Nolan Gorman 1 for 2. Also walked, and that one was the 2-run single back in the 3rd inning.
Blue Jays turned a double play, but it was a very unorthodox double play back in the 6th inning.
A long hold here by Swanson, and again, you can use that to your advantage as a pitcher. You just got to keep an eye on the pitch clock, and there are, I believe there are 5 clocks in all ballparks, right? They've got to be, and we can see one in just to the left of center field, one just to the right of center field, and you don't see them in your shot from the center field camera right now because they're a little bit wider than that, but the pitcher obviously can see the clock as he is looking into the plate.
Yeah, he's got one on either side of home plate, so it's there for him to focus on if he wants to.
Outside, and it's 3-1 on Gorman.
It's only the 2nd time Swanson has faced the Cardinals.
Swing and a miss. 3-2.
You know, Blue Jays in the offseason wanted to add a swing and miss arm to their bullpen, and that's exactly why they targeted Eric Swanson. Situations like this, he can get ground balls and he can get strikeouts.
But he missed just off the outside corner for ball 4, and the Cardinals have the first 2 men on.
Pete Walker's coming out of the bullpen, out of the dugout now to have a little chat with Swanson and try to help him get through this situation. And what he does, I really appreciate what he does here in a situation like this. He'll come out and he'll remind both Danny Jansen and Eric Swanson what the game plan is against Tyler O'Neill. Basically taking away the responsibility out of their hands and putting it in his hands, saying, here's what I want you to do. This is what we talked about before the game. Just a little reminder. You got a dangerous hitter at the plate. O'Neill's doubled his last time up. He's only hitting 3 trips. He also struck out. He struck out both times against Gausman on the split, and that's exactly the pitch that Swanson wants to emphasize in this at bat.
First pitch to Tyler O'Neill. A swing and a ground ball to short. Bichette to Biggio on to first in time. Boy, whatever Pete Walker said, they should package that up and say it more.
The Pete Walker finishing school of pitching, man. He finishes off pitchers as well as anybody in the game. And he went out there and said, here's what I want you to do. Throw a splitter, get the ground ball to the shortstop. He'll throw to Biggio at second, and they'll go to Guerrero for a double play. That's the game plan. Now take it over from here, and they do. What a big pitch by Swanson.
So runner at third, 2 down. A look ahead, the Blue Jays will send 9-1-2. Kiermaier, Springer, and Bichette up in the 9th inning. Ripped down the left field line, but Jordan Walker out in front, 0-1. If you're the sort to look up prospect lists of around Major League Baseball, this guy is on the top 5 of everybody's list, and just kind of forced his way onto the Major League team in the spring. 0-2, and that's the pitch where Swanson has so much success. Fastball up. If you look at some of his StatCast rankings, his strikeout percentage in the 96th percentile last year. Just had a great year with the Mariners a year ago. The Blue Jays trading Teoscar Hernandez to Seattle, getting Swanson and a young pitching prospect, Adam Macko, in return. Although I think when you look at the deal, maybe I'm wrong, but tell me if you think this works. They traded away $14 million in salary. They got back $2 million. Then they went out and signed Kevin Kiermaier. Like I think you can almost include Kiermaier in the deal, if you know what I mean.
No question about it. I think that's right on the money. I think that's what they were thinking about.
They knew they were going to have to get an outfielder. Hot shot up the middle, knocked down. Biggio across to first on a bounce, and Vladdy couldn't squeeze it, so the run will come in. A bang play on a hard hit ball with a fast runner, and the Cardinals tack on a run.
The ball was really hit hard. Cavan got to it, knocked it down, and stayed on top of it. But watch the ball jump off the bat. That's a high splitter, and it's ripped up over the bag at second. Vladdy stretches and can't come up with it. Cavan's throw is a little short of the mark. He's got to dig it out of the dirt. And Walker has another impactful at bat.
And is credited with an RBI single. It is now 4-1.
He hits the ball hard.
Yeah.
And an infield single in the second on a hard hit ball to shortstop. And Cavan got over it, knocked it down, but they couldn't connect on the throw.
Runner goes. Swing and a miss, and the ball popped out of the bare hand of Danny Jansen as he was trying to throw. So a stolen base for Jordan Walker, his first in the big leagues.
He's got the full package of skills. Johnson with that pitch in his hurry and rush to get the ball down to second. He bobbled it.
And just missed outside at 96. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Walker was the 4th top prospect in the major leagues before the season. He and Anthony Volpe, the shortstop of the Yankees, the 2 most anticipated debuts this season.
And it got him swinging. But the Cardinals get a run and take a 4-1 lead to the 9th here at Busch Stadium with Kiermaier, Springer, and Bichette down. And he will get it cranked up against the Cardinals tomorrow.
Yep, he is a terrific addition to this rotation, coming off a career high in wins with the Mets.
Kevin Kiermaier leads off the 9th. Arenado has trouble with it, and Kiermaier is safe. It has been scored a base hit for Kevin Kiermaier. A miscue, a rare miscue by Arenado, but it's a base hit for Kiermaier, and the Blue Jays have the leadoff man aboard.
This ball has a lot of spin on it. It's hit off the end of the bat, and when it hits the glove, it spins out of his glove, and he doesn't have time to recover with the speed of Kiermaier. That's a big break for the Blue Jays to start the inning.
Here's George Springer, 0 for 4.
Jays have 2 hits today. Kiermaier's got them both.
And Springer fooled there. It's 0-2. "19 hits on opening day and 2 so far here today." The Blue Jays still haven't hit a home run. Won the first game 10-9, down 4-1 in the 9th here today. And it is strike 3 called. 99. And it was there. Springer didn't like the call. He'll have a look and probably see it differently, but a frustrating afternoon for George Springer.
Second time he was called out on strikes today. He's gone 0 for 5, a couple of strikeouts, and 99. Looks like he's got plenty of the plate. George didn't think so.
So 1 down. Here's Bo Bichette, who was 0 for 3 with a walk. One ball, 1 strike. Well, if you're Bo, you get on somehow, some way, and you get Vladimir Guerrero Jr. up there as the tying run. To right field, dropping and down for a base hit. Kiermaier easily around to third, and it's Blue Jays on the corners with Guerrero coming up.
Man, can this kid hit? And you know what? He gets the kind of hits you need. You need a base runner, he fights it off. He had no intention of pulling that ball at all. He knew that if he could get anything to right field, chances are it was going to be a base hit. Kiermaier easily goes first to third, and just as you suggested, man, they have set the table for Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
And this is going to generate a meeting on the mound for the Cardinals.
Interesting meeting on the mound. It's all the players.
Yeah.
Kisner initiating the meeting. He went out the mound to talk to Husley, and all the infielders want to get involved in it. So Bo comes up with a hit. He's 1 for 4, only the 3rd hit for the Blue Jays, but boy, oh boy, what an opportunity. Vladimir Guerrero has walked 3 times today. That ties his career high for walks in a single game. And he's not thinking about walking right now.
Guerrero representing the tying run with a 1 out here in the 9th inning. Checks it, and he takes it high for ball 1. And you said it in his last at bat, and you're exactly right. He is seeing the ball very well. You can tell from the takes in this game.
Yeah, he is picking up the ball right out of the pitcher's hand.
2-0. Not anxious at all.
Man, oh man, it must be nice to be able to be that confident at the plate. Pitcher's throwing 100 and you're just spitting on it.
And that one's in there. 2-1.
I think that's one thing we've seen, the growth of Vladdy. He understands he doesn't have to hit all of the pitches. He just asks for time to regroup. He only needs 1.
And down the middle, 2-2.
It's really interesting how quiet this ballpark has gotten with Vladdy at the plate.
Yeah.
It's like, what's going to happen?
Runners on the corners, 1 out of the 9th inning. Varsho on deck. Fights it off.
Generally in these situations, the hometown crowd is cheering on the pitcher, but right now they're all sitting on their hands going, uh-oh.
They seem a little nervous.
This is trouble. But how many times you see the hometown fans going cheering their pitcher in this situation? Not the case right now.
Kiermaier at third, Bichette at first. And he got him. A nasty slider down and away, 2 down.
Well, he made a good pitch. Watch the pitch, how it finishes down and out of the plate. 89-mile-an-hour breaking ball with a lot of depth on it. Big pitch for Helsley.
So the Blue Jays are down to their final out. It'll be Dalton Varsho, 0 for 2 with a couple of walks. And this one is popped up on the infield. Arenado wants it and has it. And the Cardinals even up the series at a win apiece with a 4-1 win over the Blue Jays today. A game in which the Blue Jays had so many chances in the early innings. All the Jack Flaherty walks, couldn't come up with any hits at all until the 7th inning and just couldn't get the offense going.
12 runners left on base. They had opportunities all afternoon and just couldn't cash up. Sometimes you got to tip the cap to the pitchers, and the Cardinals pitchers, they had the upper hand. The bullpen was very effective today, outside of Jordan Hicks having